English learners, welcome back to the show. We're so happy you're here with us today.
If you're listening while you're walking, drinking your coffee, traveling, or simply relaxing, you're in the right place.
I'm Albert.
And I'm Mary. Albert, can I ask you something?
Of course, Mary. What's on your mind?
What's something you're afraid of? Something real, not just a small worry.
That's a hard question to answer, honestly. I think I've had different fears at different points in my life. Some big, some small, and some I didn't even recognize as fear until much later.
What do you mean, didn't recognize?
We don't always say, I'm afraid. Sometimes we say, I'm just busy right now, or I'll start next month, or I'm still preparing. And sometimes those are just quieter ways of saying I'm scared.
That's true. Fear doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just wears a different outfit. And that's what today's episode is about.
Today's episode is called Face Your Fear.
We're going to talk about why fear stops us from doing things we actually want to do, why avoiding it often makes it stronger, and how small, quiet actions can build real courage over time.
And we want to be honest from the start. We're not telling you to get rid of fear completely.
Fear is a normal part of being human. Being brave doesn't mean feeling nothing. It means deciding something matters enough to do anyway.
If you're a B1 or B2 English learner, this conversation is perfect for you.
And if you're a strong A2 learner, don't worry about catching every word. Just relax, listen, and follow the feeling.
Let's begin.
Let's start with something basic, Mary. What is fear, really, underneath all the feelings?
At its core, fear is just a signal. Your body's way of saying, pay attention, something here might be dangerous.
A useful signal in the right situation.
Extremely useful. If you're crossing a busy street, fear keeps you alert. If you're about to make a risky decision, fear makes you pause and think.
The problem isn't fear existing. The problem is fear showing up in situations that aren't actually dangerous.
Exactly. Speaking English in a meeting isn't dangerous. Sending an email isn't dangerous. But your body sometimes reacts as if it is.
Same alarm system. Wrong emergency.
A perfect way to put it. The alarm is real. It's just going off for the wrong reason. Let's talk about why we resist change, even change we actually want.
I think a lot of it comes down to uncertainty. We know exactly what today looks like. We don't know what tomorrow looks like if we change something.
So the unknown feels more frightening than the situation we're already in, even when we're not happy in that situation.
Imagine someone who dislikes their daily commute. Every single morning they complain about the traffic, the noise, the wasted time.
And when a friend suggests, why don't you try a different route or work from home 2 days a week? They say,
but what if the new route is actually worse?
So they keep the commute they hate because at least they know exactly what it is.
The familiar feels safer, even when the familiar isn't making us happy.
Maybe comfort and safety aren't actually the same thing.
I think that's an important distinction. Something can feel comfortable simply because we're used to it. That doesn't mean it's good for us.
Can we go deeper into that idea? Comfort versus safety.
Think of a pair of headphones with a broken wire. You have to hold them at a strange angle for the sound to work.
Everyone has had a pair like that.
And somehow you keep using them instead of buying new ones because you already know exactly how to hold them.
Buying new headphones means a decision. A little research, a little money, a little risk that the new ones might not be perfect either.
So the broken ones, strangely, feel easier, even though they're worse.
That's such a small example, but it applies to much bigger things too. Staying in the wrong job, staying quiet in conversations, staying with the same routine year after year.
Comfort keeps us where we are. Safety is a completely different question. Is this actually good for us long term?
Fear often confuses the two. It tells us the familiar is safe, simply because it's familiar.
Here's something fear often tells us. Wait until you feel ready.
Not today. Maybe next month. You'll be more confident later.
But here's the problem. What if that confident feeling never fully arrives on its own?
That is the problem. A lot of people are waiting for confidence to appear before they take action. But confidence usually works the opposite way.
We don't become confident and then act. We act imperfectly several times, and confidence grows out of that experience.
Think about learning to swim. Nobody becomes a confident swimmer by standing at the edge of the pool thinking about swimming.
You get in the water. You struggle a little. You swallow some water, probably. You try again.
And slowly your body learns what your mind couldn't learn just by thinking about it.
The first attempt feels enormous. The second one feels difficult. But after enough practice, the thing that once terrified you becomes just part of your week.
Fear promises that confidence comes first. Experience proves that it usually comes second.
Albert, here's a question I think about often. What do people fear more? Failing or other people finding out they failed?
Honestly, I think for most people, it's the second one. We're more afraid of being judged than we are the failure itself.
Imagine someone who wants to start sharing short videos online. Cooking videos, maybe. They have ideas. They've even filmed a few clips on their phone.
But then the thoughts start. What if people think my kitchen looks messy? What if my voice sounds strange on camera? What if someone leaves an unkind comment?
And the videos just stay on their phone. Never posted.
The fear of what might happen becomes stronger than the desire to actually try.
And here's what's strange about that fear. It doesn't need real evidence to feel completely convincing.
Our imagination can build an entire disaster in about 3 seconds.
And it's almost always the worst possible version.
Let's stay on that idea. In reality, are people actually watching us as closely as we imagine?
Almost never. Most people are far too busy thinking about their own lives, their own worries, their own mistakes, their own fears.
We imagine ourselves standing on a huge stage, everyone's eyes fixed on us.
But in reality, everyone else is standing on their own imaginary stage, worrying about themselves.
That's highly comforting when you actually sit with it.
It should be. Because once you realize people aren't watching you as closely as you imagine, it becomes much easier to just try.
I think this connects directly to English learners. So many people know the grammar, know the vocabulary, can write a perfectly correct sentence.
But the second someone asks, "Can you speak English?" nerves take over completely.
And the mind goes blank.
And then the thought arrives, my English must be terrible.
But often, the English isn't the problem at all. The nerves are.
That's such an important difference to notice.
Let's talk about avoidance specifically, because I think it's the trickiest part of fear.
If you're afraid of making mistakes while speaking, you probably speak less.
And if you speak less, you get less practice.
Less practice means confidence grows more slowly.
And slower confidence means the fear stays exactly where it was, or even grows.
So avoiding the thing you're afraid of can actually make the fear stronger over time.
That seems backwards. We think avoidance protects us.
It feels protective in the moment, but it quietly teaches your brain something dangerous. This really must be a threat since we keep avoiding it.
So if you always avoid speaking English, your brain starts to genuinely believe that speaking English is something to fear.
But if you speak a little, even nervously, even imperfectly, your brain learns something completely different. I did it. I survived. Nothing terrible actually happened.
And the next time becomes just a little bit easier.
Courage grows through experience, not through simply thinking about being brave.
Albert, do you think we should try to get rid of fear completely?
No, and honestly, I don't think that's even possible.
Why not?
Because fear can be genuinely useful. It tells us to slow down before an important decision. It tells us to be alert in an unfamiliar place. The problem isn't fear itself.
The problem is when fear makes every single decision for us.
Exactly. Fear can be a passenger in the car. It doesn't need to be the one driving.
I like that, because sometimes we treat fear like the boss. Fear says don't, and we simply obey without question.
But we can learn to say something different. I hear you. I know you're trying to protect me, but I'm going to decide what happens next.
That sounds like real strength.
It is, because courage was never about having zero fear. Courage is choosing your action while the fear is still sitting right there beside you.
Can you give a practical example of that?
Imagine you have a presentation tomorrow and you're genuinely nervous. Your fear says, cancel it. Say you're sick.
You could listen to that fear completely.
Or you could say, I'm nervous. That's fine. I'll prepare my notes tonight and tomorrow I'll simply do my best. You're still afraid, but you're moving forward anyway.
So courage can be very ordinary. It doesn't have to look dramatic.
Sometimes courage is a difficult phone call you've been avoiding. Sometimes it's asking for help. Sometimes it's simply speaking English, even while worrying about your mistakes.
Sometimes it's telling someone honestly how you feel.
And sometimes it's just getting through a hard day and trying again the next morning.
We often imagine courage as something huge, climbing a mountain, doing something dangerous.
But everyday courage is usually much quieter than that. And I think that's the kind most of us actually need.
Here's an idea that surprised me the first time I heard it. Sometimes we're not afraid of failing. We're afraid of succeeding.
That does sound strange at first.
Think about it. If you succeed, your life might actually change. New responsibility, new expectations, new situations you've never had to handle before.
So success brings its own kind of uncertainty.
Imagine someone who dreams of becoming fluent in English. They imagine speaking confidently, easily, naturally.
But becoming that confident might also mean new conversations, new opportunities, new people, maybe even a completely different job.
Suddenly, the dream requires them to become a slightly different version of themselves.
Sometimes we are not actually afraid of the goal. We are afraid of who we might have to become in order to reach it.
And that's exactly why growth can feel so uncomfortable. Your old habits stop fitting quite the way they used to.
But maybe that discomfort isn't a warning sign. Maybe it's simply a sign that something is changing.
Unfamiliar doesn't automatically mean dangerous.
Mary, I want to ask an honest question here. What happens when someone faces their fear and it still doesn't go well?
That's always a real possibility. Facing a fear doesn't guarantee success. Sometimes you try, and it doesn't work out the way you hoped.
Then what?
Then the most useful thing you can do is separate the result from your identity.
What do you mean by that?
I failed sounds like a permanent identity. This attempt didn't work sounds like temporary information.
Those really are two very different sentences.
And information can actually help you improve. A failed attempt still teaches you something a successful one never could.
So even a disappointing result can still be part of building real courage.
Absolutely. Nobody becomes a confident speaker because every single attempt was perfect. They improve because they kept attempting, even after the ones that didn't go smoothly.
So the real question isn't how do I avoid every mistake? It's what can this particular mistake actually teach me?
That single shift changes almost everything about how facing fear actually feels.
So practically, how should someone actually start facing a fear?
I wouldn't recommend starting with the biggest, scariest version of it.
Why not?
Because small acts of courage build real evidence, one small piece at a time. If you're afraid of speaking English, don't begin with a 1-hour presentation.
Start with one sentence, then a short conversation, then 5 minutes, then 10.
You're teaching your own brain, slowly and gently. I can actually do difficult things.
The goal was never becoming fearless overnight. The goal is becoming just a little braver through repeated practice.
And you don't need to wait until the fear disappears completely before you begin.
You can simply carry the fear with you. I'm nervous, and I'm going to do this anyway.
I think that might be one of the most useful sentences in this entire episode.
Because bravery was never really a feeling. It's a decision. And every time you make that decision, courage becomes a little more familiar.
So let's bring today's conversation together. Fear itself isn't the enemy.
It's simply a signal, sometimes useful, sometimes triggered by something that isn't actually dangerous at all.
Comfort and safety aren't the same thing. Confidence usually comes after action, not before it.
We're often more afraid of judgment than of failure itself, and most people are far too busy with their own lives to judge us as closely as we imagine.
Avoidance feels protective, but it usually makes the fear grow stronger over time.
And courage was never about having zero fear.
It's choosing to move forward, one small step at a time, while the fear is still sitting right there beside you. Now it's time for today's word walk. 10 useful words from today's conversation. Let's go slowly.
Word 1. Fear. A feeling caused by believing something may be dangerous or difficult. Fear kept her from applying for the new position.
Word 2. Courage. The ability to do something difficult or frightening, even while afraid. It took real courage for him to speak up in the meeting.
Word 3. Uncertainty. Not knowing what will happen in the future. The uncertainty of the new job made her hesitant at first.
Word 4. Avoidance. staying away from something because it causes discomfort or fear. Avoidance can quietly make a fear grow stronger.
Word 5. Confidence. Believing in your own ability to do something successfully. Speaking a little every day slowly built his confidence.
Word 6. Judgment. An opinion, often critical, formed about someone or something. She worried about judgment more than about the mistake itself.
Word 7. Growth. The process of developing or improving over time. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels natural.
Word 8. Discomfort. A feeling of being slightly uneasy or unsettled. A little discomfort doesn't always mean something is wrong.
Word 9. Evidence. Facts or experience that support a belief or conclusion. Small acts of courage build real evidence over time.
And word 10. Identity. Who you are, especially in your own mind. One failed attempt isn't the same as a failed identity.
Your challenge this week has 2 sizes, small and big.
Small. Say this sentence out loud twice right now. I'm nervous and I'm going to do this anyway.
Big. Pick one small fear you've been avoiding, even a tiny one, and take one small step toward it this week. Not the biggest version, just one small, honest step.
Nothing dramatic, just enough to build one small piece of evidence.
Thank you so much for listening with us today.
And remember, unfamiliar doesn't automatically mean dangerous.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with another English learner.
And tell us in the comments, what's one fear you'd like to face? Use the word courage somewhere in your answer. We reply to every single one.
I'm Mary.
And I'm Albert.
And you are listening to the Leap Talk English podcast.
Keep learning.
Keep practicing.
Keep believing in yourself.
And remember,
Music.
small English said honestly builds bigger bridges than perfect English said fearfully.
Take care.
Join